Gurute Namo. Om Namo Gurute Namo. Ankare Name, Jugakare Name, Satkare Name, Sirikare Name, Adkare Jugakare Name, Satkare Sirikare Name, Adkare Name, Jugakare Name, Satkare Name, Sirikare Name. Breathe. Hard breath. Okay. So now Japa Saraswati was concerned about Jogyan Devi because she, how do you say that? She was not liking about politics. She was very concerned about that. And I believe that you all understand. Oh, because she said that it was only from spiritual. But then I said to her, for what do you call it? For Baba Siri Chand, and these other times, Baba Siri Chand is helping us to move through darkness, through transformation. Do you know about that? So, I think she does not, I think she's leaving us. So God bless her, dear. And I sent a big heart. Okay. So breathe.
I just want to quickly say that that is very interesting because I just felt moved to text her last week and say, I miss you. I
Oh,
didn't hear back, but that explains it.
yeah. You can, why not call her? Why not send her?
Yeah.
That'll be fine. Breathe. Okay. Now, let's see. Oh, whoops. How about our chat? Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Chat. Yes, there it is. Okay. Japa Saraswati. Oh, wait a minute. How do you all feel about that? Does anybody have any idea? Or
about Jogyan Devi leaving us?
Yeah.
I'm sad.
Huh?
I'm sad because for me, well, first of all, it came up for me that I hope I didn't say anything that, influenced her, that pushed her away, because it certainly wasn't my intention. And I value diversity. And so would love to hear more from, to balance the whole, and why she, doesn't like, I mean, how she draws the line between spirituality and politics and all of that. That's where I'm was coming from, but I said, oh my God, I hope I didn't say anything, that kind of thing.
Okay. So just be present. Okay.
I also feel like sometimes you just have to, it's okay to tell someone you love them and also let them go.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Because it's
they,
not up to us to do anything else, it feels
Yeah.
like to me.
that's right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So, Japa Saraswati, can you please talk us very slowly and begin?
Amazing. Because perhaps Cro-Magnon humans began a very long time ago, we have evolution for so many millennia to see what we have developed as human sapiens at this point. What shall we find us humanity? What we are now, and then what is the future of your own personal evolution? Tuning in, message. Understand from Baba Siri Chand and our cosmic siblings how we will understand 1. Our current humanity evolution situation. Short talk. 2. Learn from your own future evolution. Longer talk. Do not use from everyday self, but only from Baba Siri Chand and our cosmic siblings or your soul. 1 minute of heart pumping, 6 minutes of heart breath, listening from everyone.
Okay.
Yes?
Do you all understand that?
The short talk, that means what? And then longer talk, can you explain that a little?
That means on number 1, just has a short time during the meditation, but don't, uh, but all of your listening is more from the number 2, which is learn from your own future evolution. That's the most part of it. Do you understand that?
Okay, I think so.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So now we're going to do now for 1 minute heart pumping and begin. And now heart breath. 6 minutes. And inhale. And breathe. Okay. Aagia Pal.
So I hope what I say will make sense. For a number one, it's just a cacophony of sounds from Baba, and basically he was saying, uh, as I enter the consciousness of humanity, or focus on the of humanity's evolution now and the consciousness of it. It's filled. There's all kinds of fear. There's all kinds of yeah. So the short part of this is humanity. We have a long way to go. We are moving, and we are moving towards the good, towards the light. And the more people allow themselves to face the dark, but that's a long process. He said that's a long process, and rest assured that we are evolving. It's not like we are going to be. Yeah, I said, are we just going to self-destruct? And he said, absolutely not. Okay, that's short talk. So the longer talk was so so I said to him, Babaji, I am really at a point where I'm overwhelmed. I mean, every day, in every way, I hear something that just knocks me for a loop. And and I said, Bob, it feels like I'm one of those, you know, uh, like dolls that are, blown up dolls, and you punch them and it goes sideways and it comes back up again. And
right.
And that was how I was feeling. And he said that read the book by Brother Lawrence, and it's a tiny little book, and I had forgotten all about it. The title is The Practice of the Presence of God. And he said, it's very simple. Do live for loving God. So do everything you do is is in is for the love of God, and no fear. There will be no fear. And I took a lot of consolation listening to that, Baba, on that, and I will read this, the practice of the presence of God, and go for it, because you were saying before about perseverance, and uh, Baba it said, that it's key. Keep up, and and you'll be kept up. And so, it's hard. Like today, I was just in a tizzy about. I get into a tizzy about certain things, and this was the fact the government's shut down. Sorry, I'm talking politics. And the Speaker of the House is doing nothing to get everybody back. So what seems to me now is very, like, I'm scared of this. And what he said to me, remember, fierce hope, stay with fierce hope. And send heart breath. So I've been doing heart breath every moment that I forget, and I'll come back to it. Because he said, yes, I am right. We are in a very precarious position. However, from number one, knowing that in the long haul, this is all for our highest and best. So that's giving me the hope that I need to carry on. And because, I said to him, I sometimes feel, like I recently did, was why bother? Why am I putting out all this? Because it's impossible. What I'm, trying to heal and move forward in my own life, and look at what's, and not knowing. I said to him, I don't know what, nobody knows. And then he reminded me of what Joanna Macy said when her son said to her, and Mom, how does it all end, this Shambhala warrior prophecy? And she said that the Rinpoche told her that you don't know how it's going to end. So you keep the hope, you keep the fierce hope. Okay, so anyway, so I said to him, I kind of move from one extreme to another of, no hope to fierce hope, and then back. And he said, well, and then I said, sometimes I go into a self-pity situation where I'll say, oh, wow, this is hard. This is, I don't know. And then he said, there are always, and then he showed me, and somebody close here, everybody's going through a lot of stuff. Not to compare myself, not to compare yourself, he said, but to know you're not alone. Um, so yeah, and to acceptance, and to be willing to step up and step out, like on Saturday, and a small beginning, but keep up. So just to end, I'll just say that that's what I'll do is read this book, stay in heart breath. I feel like I'm on a ship, not a sinking ship, but a ship that, you have to do all the things that are emergency kinds of things that you have to cover, and you have to be aware of, and because the very rough seas, he said, very rough seas ahead, and but keep, tuned to the stars, to navigate yourself by the stars, and your cosmic beings in the stars. So don't lose touch, don't lose contact with the, navigating by your cosmic beings. So I think that covers most of it. Thank you for listening.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gian Das Prem.
Um,
Satnam.
okay. It is really amazing, when we know, can see and look and feel our generations and our matter. And through the words of my mom, she was noticing that people are changing and they're feeling a lot that they can't explain. And this was her feeling. And she's 86. And she's been through some things in her life. And I'm part of her. And I'm noticing, you know, through the evolution and through my personal evolution, noticing through history, archaeology, and this is we sort of can touch on the same truth each time we look at ourselves and see the coming and goings of our dealings, if that's, the words that we're choosing now in our communication. Yeah, love. So more love and looking inside for that to become more of what I'm working with in the healing for myself, right? For my personal evolution. Believing in love and the light, that gives us life here on this planet, which is surrounded by what, darkness and really cold, dense space. And we're in this traveling place inside this beautiful bubble, right? With the current situation of our humanity. And I guess, we've learned some practices through our life, through the history of living and civilizations. Um, Seeing some examples through the energy in my experience, working with energy, being it both for useful manners and for somewhat non-useful manners. And here we are, so we're changing our DNA, right? We're noticing. Everyone, or a lot of people, are noticing now, and they're feeling it, be it from the surroundings, from the different effects. And I was speaking to somebody this morning, and I was what I was noticing through my morning meditations was cleaning and going through things and coming to a realization. And it was the chakras that I was looking at, of the ability to go through each level, to notice what each level is, and through the stages of our actions and our physical ways and our ways that we act and how we move forward. And coming back to the noticing, our previous corrections when we're challenged. We can, trust our practices, because we are seeing new things that seem different or out of place, which, we can go into so many factors of that. But in the quick and long breath is the message that I'm getting today from Baba Siri Chand, and freeing the heart of the matters that matter and the matters that are coming, with it. So that can be said in simple form and everyday self, and it can also be said in a spiritual sense. When we are dealing with energy through so many of the ages and the movements of this planet that'll have allowed this, within the bubble, which have allowed the life to stay and sometimes go away, depending on the weather or the spinning or what happens to be, right? And there are other planets out there that have less life on them, and we happen to have a lot of life. So what I'm being told through the, and it's great. I also wanted to mention this week that this is, for me, it's a wild experience because I believe that I am here just to come from the heart and the soul, and noticing that we are emotional beings and that we have feelings, and that we use ways of our feelings to make us unique. Let's, we're going to bring it into a positive spin and try to look at each other and say, hey, is the freedom of the heart, is it helping me when I work through these situations? Am I able to notice the next time I come through? How's my reaction? Because yes, we are being tested, and I believe that we're being watched, and I believe that it works, that, just like a flower, how it reaches for that light. It has love. Some of it's only, going to last a day. I'm repeating myself a little bit here sometimes, but you know, the light and love, the notifications that we get, there's an exaltation to noticing that point that we could come to. And within the group, I will, be given many, I will say, authors to that, because I believe that within the life, we're given a certain voice of our own story that we're able to sort of add into the other story of this fabric that we're dealing with now. And sometimes it can be rough, but that prayer pose, or looking up to the sky and holding that offering, and exalting that, or even asking, show me your sign, or coming to that point of, joy through ecstasy, and all of that, simple form, yet, the practice can build as we go. um and for that personal experience, yeah, the freeing of the heart for me, and being ready for that next generation. Because 61 years old, I don't have any grandchildren, and I believe that there is a possibility that I will, having two children, and seeing this possibility. It's I'm coming to Waheguru, yeah, and sharing my meditations with the ones that I love, and becoming truer to that way of the walking in that prayer, of that constant love for that freedom that we're given. Yeah, and thank you, and Waheguru, and noticing the forgiveness, the courage that it takes to look back and say to myself, I love you, please forgive me, everything's going to be okay, and I'm sorry, and being able to, sort of work my way through all of those emotions, to that strength, that courage that we're being asked to handle, within all of the technology. And we don't have to do everything, and coming back and saying I love you to the self sometimes, that we're still here, and offering support for each other, and in that Waheguru. And thank you so much for this opportunity and the sharing. I love you. I love you.
Oh, that was lovely. That was wonderful, because we are talking with the whole group. Isn't that important? Yes.
Waheguru.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, Sahaj.
I'm here. It's I am working in the shop, so I have to keep moving this morning. But I saw, kind of in relation to the first question, just like our beloved sister we were wondering about earlier, showing that our community, our spiritual community, has kind of scattered to the four winds in many ways, and that is part of what's going on at this time. And I had this image earlier of we've been taught. It's like a loving parent, where you devote your life to the well-being of your child, and then there's like that moment where you let them go, and either you agree to trust that they have a vision and a trajectory for their own life, or you don't. And so I guess that's the hopeful, or I avoid using that word. I would say that's actually the comforting vision. It's also what's so hard, because the separation aspect is so hard. And I feel it. I feel the loss of community in these recent years. But the other thing that came to me is, excuse me, I guess to sum that up, this is part of it. This is part of it. We are like the children who were given all the information, and now it's given to us to go out and do our best understanding of what that means in the world and in our lives right now. And separation is always difficult, and that's what is part of the difficulty of this time in our history. What's the other thing?
Okay. May I ask
Yep.
you something?
Sure.
Okay. Now, with Jyotian Devi,
Oh, that was the other thing. Go ahead. Thank you.
I don't believe that we are separated from Jyotian Devi.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Sometimes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I had caffeine this morning.
Right. And it's very, I feel that if we feel that we have separation, now is the time to change us to pure love. And
Exactly.
there we are.
Yes,
We
and
are
that's
love.
yes, and that's the part of, like, you were given these understandings, given these lessons, and now you have to go out and execute them. So what does that mean? So we have maybe a difference of understanding, uh, a difference of opinion, whatever. Like, how do we respond? Are we going to respond as we are taught with pure love? And what does that mean? And how does that look? This is the experiment we're doing now. Oh, what is this like when it gets hard? What does it get like when I can't find a common ground? And the other thing that I got earlier on was, it had to do, it also has to do with the illusion of separation. Like this notion that, like, I think, like, if we spoke to our ancestors and we explained what was going on today and how people were separating things, like saying, don't play politics or whatever, they would be scratching their heads. They would say, what's the separation here? Why do you think your spirit and the way things manifest in your day-to-day life and happenings are different. Why do you think there's a difference between spirituality and politics? Like you're just splitting hairs and you're creating separations. It's all about creating separations and creating just all these further and further little divisions and little, what's the word? Compartmentalization. It's just not helpful. It's not the end of the world, but it's just not helpful. Or maybe let me say it a different way. It is helpful at this time to try to take the 30,000-foot view. What does life look? If we pulled the camera back out into space and we looked down at our lives, what would it look like? Would it look like there was, in the course of a human life, there was a thing called politics that was completely separate from spirituality, that was completely separate from religion, that was completely separate from all these other divisions that we imagine? We would see that those are just constructs that we've created to cope with what has become an increasingly complex world. And I say complex more from the standpoint of like all the distractions that we have, technology and, just the pace of day-to-day life for human beings in most of what's called the developed world. So I don't know if that's making sense. Again, sorry about the coffee, but I needed the inspiration today. That I guess at the end of the day, I could sum it up to say exactly what you said, that the separation is actually the illusion.
Yes.
We are not separate.
Okay.
And this is just a phase we're going through, and we just have to figure some things out.
Okay. Good. Because I was just thinking about politics. Don't have it for us, but I was thinking, if you go to the old, what do you call it? The Bible on the old, what do you call that?
Old Testament?
The Old Testament. Okay. So do you suppose maybe they have what do you call it? Wars and upset and getting mad? And what do you think?
It was ever thus.
That's right. It's just what happens through the illusion from humanity, right?
And that separation exists. And maybe that starts with the separation of soul from the source. Maybe that's part of the condition we're meant to observe. This is what separation looks like. And in the face of this, what is your instinct? What do you do in the face of this?
And what do you suppose Jesus would say in that situation?
Well, I think he would say what he did say, which is that like we're all brothers and sisters. There is no one is better than the other. And that love is what we're here for. Love is what we're here to do and to be.
Right. And forgiveness.
Yes.
And kindness. And the Ho'oponopono. What do you think?
And also, I think, too, going along with that, honestly, when we look, what we realize is in the human experience, that is often costly. Even though we would prefer to think if we were just always loving and always forgiving, that would make for an easy life. And I think that's where a lot of the fear comes from. We know we know when we're at this sort of juncture with humanity and the sense of separation is high, uh, that it can be costly, and that's, I think, what a lot of us fear, that we step up and we be who we know we're destined to be, but we're fearful of what the cost may be.
So we certainly have so many possibilities or situations to change, right?
Amen.
Change to love, change to love and forgiveness.
Because if you think of the most loudest, most virulent sort of person, and you imagine yourself gently, gently walking up to that person, not in real life, but in spirit, say, and just very, very gently putting your arms around them. It's like I have this image of that person angry and yelling and whatever, and the peaceful person, the loving person with the intent of love and forgiveness, just in spirit walking up and putting your arms around them. I see that person just like laying their head on the shoulder and weeping, because that's really people holding all that anger. They're also holding all that fear. And that's what we have in common. If we could recognize that in each other, we could comfort each other.
Right. And this is our pure evolution, don't you think?
Yes, yes.
Because we need to do this within our own selves.
Remember that.
Don't you think?
I do think so. And I think we need to pay attention to trust that inner voice, because sometimes, just like as a funny little example, this morning, I was like getting ready to do a big task that I've been dreading, but I now feel confident that I'm capable of doing. But I haven't had coffee in a month because I haven't been well. But this morning, this little voice was like, have a cup of coffee. And I thought, really? Huh. But it was like, I paid attention because I know what that voice is. It's like, okay, even if it's some weird little practical detail like that, if I hear that particular voice, I know, do it. And you know what? It drove me into the space I needed to be in. And like what I heard when I was saying, really, it was like the reply was, use it as medicine, a small amount for this narrow purpose. This is what you're doing. And it's like, oh, okay, it might seem contradictory, and I might want to second guess myself, but it's just this weird little direction that's giving me exactly what I need in this exact moment.
Exactly. And that is your soul. SOUL.
Yes.
And that's where we're going. Excuse me. And we
it's such
are soul.
Yes, and it's such a joy to me that it comes through every time. Even when I doubt it, even when I think, oh my God, I'm having to work through the call this morning, and like there's that little niggling doubt, like, am I going to get to anything? And of course, it comes through. It's like, yes, I can come through for you, even when you're working, even when you're distracted. Yeah, I can still come through for you. It doesn't, that's the other thing. We live in America in a society that's like pay to play. If you're not struggling, if it's not difficult, like you don't get credit for it. The favorite phrase is, how are you doing? Oh, busy. Good, but busy. If you're busy, then you're valid. you know yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't have to be. We don't have to effort like that, like to access soul. I mean, there's some practices that are best to do that will help us access it easier, but it doesn't mean that in every moment we have to struggle, or we don't have to do a 2.5 hour morning sadhana in order to contact our soul. We don't have to pay with blood It's like, yeah, okay, well, that taught me how to access this place, but that doesn't mean that's what I need every time I need to access this place.
Mm.
This morning I need access, and I also need to be doing other things.
How about that? And you know what?
Hmm.
Because with this evolution means to let go of everyday self. And you know, the, how do you say, the other, uh, not religious, but the dharmas are all about letting go of our ego, which is also everyday self.
Right.
And the only thing that we have is let go. And so just let go and let God. That's so. Isn't that amazing? And it's just
Truly is.
simple. That's the problem.
Right. So simple, like the jitterbug, it plumb evaded me. Thank you, Jimmy Buffett.
Say it again.
It's one of Jimmy Buffett's riffs in one of his songs. So simple, like the jitterbug, it plumb evaded me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So is that okay? Are you complete?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Harimandir.
Okay. um, it seems to me that part of spirituality and part of fierce hope, which is action, that we're more in the realm of Joan of Arc rather than the monastery.
Of the what?
Monastery.
Okay.
So it's reminding ourselves that one of the reasons I'm on the call is not a forced, but a little oasis that I don't tend to do for myself. And you guys do it for me. I'm, I have to remember all the tools and the aspects and have to keep being reminded of the love within the activity, within the action, within the politics. So one of the things that came to mind this morning was back in the day, we were closing a school, or a school was being closed, and it was the Sahaj will know, it's the Capital School, where it was the word isn't integrated, but that's not the word I'm trying to get to. It had all different races and economic um, levels, and teachers that have self selected themselves to be in that school. And it was a time when I was very angry about the loss of it and working very hard, but without the tools of ho'oponopono or loving the other, the opponents. And my work now at the moment, trying to save the community on the top of our telephone hill, where there are 700-year-old homes that were built in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And I have felt myself at the Unitarian Fellowship on Sunday. I was sharing the aspect of what was being lost, or could be lost, or might be lost, and putting a stone into the cup, having shared our joys and concerns. But the very last bit, I felt the anger, or the frustration, more frustration, coming up. And when I put the small stone, I put it in with force. So there. And it got my attention because it called for a softer, in that space, in that morning space, Sunday space. It was it got my attention that I had done that with force rather than placing. And so what's interesting to me is that the people who were my enemies in closing Capital School, and how much that political time took over my life, so that nothing else, there was no room for anything else. And that's the same situation I'm in right now, with the same kind of feeling of responsibility, of keeping up, of what were some of the perseverance, which and it just reminds me that the people that were enemies back then are now allies in this particular situation. And I have to how do I say that? The awareness of how what this situation right now is, saving these homes, saving this historical neighborhood, saving this community of self selected people that live there. And the assembly people that we need to talk to, it's hard to forget. It's it's uh, it's hard to remember. It's a challenge to remember that the people I'm talking to who make decisions are aren't the enemy, and it's so easy to fall into that that conundrum. So it's lovely to. It took half of this talk this morning just to relax into the kindness, and but also remembering that I have to go talk to the people that I when I talk to the people that I think are on this other side, often there is um, an opening. So that's pretty much where I am.
Mhm. Okay. I believe Ho'oponopono, don't you think?
Yep.
There's that's the whole thing, don't you think?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Good.
It's making space for it. That is the challenge.
Right. And how to just like move. That's called flowing, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And to be aware. Hmm. You know, when I went Saturday for No Kings, there were a lot of people kind of almost squashed together. But do you know that and I saw this happening over and over again, that people wanted to move through the crowd, but each one was very careful that nobody was even bumped together against not against, just even feel it. Everybody was so kind and be aware. Okay. Okay, Japa Saraswati.
That for the first part about our current situation, what I had was that the institutions of today were conceived with the limitations of previous generations. So that's what we are working with. That's part of the working system, is that the limitations of today aren't necessarily here, but still some of the working machinery, some of the institutions, some of the ways are made with the limitations of the past, and that we're in the process of evolving to update those things. And that's why the evolution is necessary. And then I heard that we are midwifing ourselves. And I saw that we are born in the image of the Creator. And now I want to share. It's not actually this pose I want to share. It's the other one. Oh, I have to get to the top of my page. How do I do this? Here, it's this one. Can you guys see this? This is Malasana. This is sometimes can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, this is called malasana. Sometimes it's also called rosary pose, and it would be called rosary because the monks would sit with the beads in their hands in this posture, and it's like you yourself are draping like a rosary bead in your hand. And it's also a really good birthing posture. And I've been seeing this posture a lot. And then what I saw was, oh, wait a minute. Then this other posture. Okay, here it is. I thought I already brought it up here. Um, I want to move you guys because part of the important part of this pose is here at the hands and feet. Yes, I was seeing this. This is a standing bound half lotus. So, but the important part is where she's looking at her feet. This is a pada dristi. Pada is the foot, and dristi is the gaze or the focus. And it means basically looking at your feet and or not just at your foot specifically, kind of at the big toe. The nail bed of the big toe is a major energy point um, in just through our whole body. So when we gaze there, it stimulates the third eye behind the pituitary or in the pituitary, and it stimulates all the way from the crown here, and it goes all the way up and through, and then it reaches here, and you create this connection. And then there's like this liminal space between this area here, and that is made up exclusively of dristi, of like energetic focus. Um, so anyway, um, yeah, focusing on the roots and and focusing on the earth is part of the message that I got from this part of being stable. This is also, if she's standing up, it's not just half lotus, it's also called tree or vrikasana. And so this is part of being the one-leggeds. But what I got was rooted foods, to be eating rooted foods. So like yesterday, I had this wonderful butternut squash soup that was just all entirely local ingredients. I made it in the kitchen. I didn't just, yeah, it was entirely local ingredients. And so I got the message basically that we're to remain really focused on the earth and eating really rooted foods, focusing on our own roots and um our own root chakra, like our own roots, um, to help with this evolution. Um, because what I found was that the tapas are austerities. Tapas are austerities that burn off karma. And I've been really afraid of like just having a lot of austerities through the transition, through the transition for the Aquarian age. I've been afraid of the austerities. I've been afraid of what it is that I might have to do without. But, and I think that's a common fear for many people, like we don't want to be uncomfortable. But the message that I got is that these are the austerities that burn off karma, and that on the other side is a rebirth, which is the next stage in evolution, that this is part of us midwiving ourselves. And what I got was um Baruch Spinoza, who I love, said if triangles could think, their God would be eminently triangular. And it's this way that we are created in the image of our creator. Um, and it's the way that that the institutions that exist now have some of the limitations of the previous generations, even though the previous generations are dead. Like, that's the thing with Trump, is that he is exercising some old branch from the patriarchy that I really feel this is in my heart that the people who follow Trump by and large now either are the patriarchy or themselves are supported by the patriarchy. And that's how it is that it works for them. And that if they are not in that group, then Trump doesn't work for them. It's just kind of a mathematical it for me in that way. And that they're exercising so with the limitations of the previous generations, they're exercising, Trump is exercising the last vestiges of like a patriarchal and domineering control before the rebirth of something more egalitarian. And that is the hope that I must cling to, in that rebirthing of myself, like my basement. So I'm doing all of this plumbing, and my father put in all of this beautiful copper plumbing down there. I mean, really wonderful, high quality things. I look at it and it's lovely. And then the plumber has had to take out I think all of the copper, and he replaced it with like some kind of plastic tubing, that's more flexible and more modern. And it hurts me to see these beautiful copper things go. And there's part of me that wants to keep the copper because it's shiny and it's beautiful. But then I realized that I would have to keep it in the basement and that I don't really want to do that. I don't want to hold on to this. And that I don't need it, that it's the conduits of yesteryear, that we don't use that anymore because it's not as efficient. And that's what I'm getting about our evolution is even if the patriarchy had some, shiny and beautiful elements of it, it's the technology of yesteryear, it's the conduit of yesteryear. And even if I were to keep it, it's not going to come back around, it's not coming back around. So it's better for me to let the copper go in and make way for, plumbing that actually works for the house for today. Um, I think that was my message.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
Japa Saraswati. I have seen her with her asanas because when she used those asanas exactly for those, what do you call them? Those energy lines and so on. Yogi Bhajan would talk about triangles and angles. That's yoga. And she could feel that, what is really happening. So that's why she is talking about those things. Okay.
It was so important that I just was able to explain Pada Dristi with you guys today. That
Mhm.
was really nice for me, to be able to explain that because I've never been able to say it out loud as clearly as that. And it's almost like I get stuck in my head certain postures, and they will have a lesson for me in that posture, and I will get kind of like fixed on it, and it will be my favorite. I will even think about it like as I'm doing the dishes, as I'm driving, as I'm, and it's like sometimes I feel like I have to do it. Like, and I'll be at visiting a friend's house, I'll be, in my own kitchen, whatever, and I have to do the pose, and I might look like crazy, but it's just I see it.
Mhm.
And it has a lesson for me is usually the the message from it. And that was the message with Padadristi, was about remaining focused on the roots and the earth, you know.
Mhm. Wonderful. Okay. So would we all say that in this evolution, this is a very incredible time for us to let go of fear and hurt and terrible things? This is our great ability, actually, to change, to heal, to move, not for our own. And that's what happens through the whole humanity, because we were talking about so dark old times. But now we know that if we, who we are, we move our own selves to change our humanity. Amazing. Don't you think?
Yeah. Did you just see Sahaj's message? The evolution will be televised.
That's great. That's great.
Gil Scott Heron would approve.
Okay. We just had it with Zoom. God bless you all.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So let go and let God is what our theme, I believe. Letting go, right? Releasing and letting go.
Mm-hmm.
And make therefore room for moving on.
Yeah. Don't forget letting go. Let's see, letting go.
Oh,
What's the other part?
And let God.
God. Wait a minute, you guys, I just remembered part of the rest of my message I see on my notes. So there's a comet that's coming that's crossing our path on the 30th of.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and so I was listening to somebody on the internet yesterday saying that it's going to change the frequency of
Yes.
our planet, and that a whole lot of people are going to turn on that date. Like masses, like millions of people are going to turn on. And I figure that we're probably already turned on, but I think that a bunch of other people, we might get turned on more. And I also am wondering about the like for me, when the pressure changes or when angels are starting to give me messages, I get sometimes loud ringing and noises in my ears,
Mm.
and it feels like a bit of a squeezing in my head that's just the pressure changing, you know, but it's like it can feel intense. And so I'm a little bit wondering about that because I know that I've felt unwell in the past when we've had major things like this happen.
Okay. Tell me again what the date is.
It's the 30th. So it's next week. Let me see. It's at the end of next week.
Thursday.
Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great.
And I could just add real quick is that people are saying that the Schumann resonance of the Earth, 7.83 hertz, it is kind of weak. So our magnetic field is weak. So what Japa Saraswati said is true, that we will feel this the solar flare and the comet even more. We will be affected because our Earth's magnetic field will be quite affected, and hence our human consciousness.
Mm. Wow.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay. Thank you. So we better, I shouldn't say be, we, but October 30 is let go, let God.
Mm-hmm.
And feel pure love and
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness and our own energy as humanity. Okay. Okay, so Sahaj, will you sing us, lead us to our song?
Oh my gosh, my mic's been open the whole time. I'm sorry. I'm slinging frozen fish in 25-pound bags, but I will stop and sing. Oh, let's take a nice deep breath and let it go. And let God fill our lungs to begin. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Inhale. And bless you all. Love you, love you.
Love you all. Thank you.
Yeah, love you all. Have a great week.
Thank you, everybody.
Love you. Peace to all.
Sadam. Sadam.